So Tyreek Hill had 48 fantasy points on Sunday. Really excited and looking forward to this slate that we got coming up on Sunday night, especially after the debacle that was Thursday night, right? DeAndre swiftly destroyed all my lineups.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
What is up, guys? Welcome to the Edge DFS. My name is Tyson Smith, joined by Ellie Hernandez. Ellie, so did you not do well Thursday night? What happened? What was your biggest problem? Because I sure as hell don't even know why I didn't do well. Like, it was just such a weird slate. We'll look at the winning lineup here in a minute, but what happened to you?
Well, I was doing fine all night. I mean, obviously, AJ Brown was one of my favorite plays. Didn't work out. And Rashad Penny, he finally made it to the field, and then the one time that he had an opportunity to be a part of a winning play, he had to hurt me again. So,
yeah.
But outside of that, man, DeAndre Swift with 170 yards and a touchdown, and I guess I had too much Jalen Hurts.
I know.
Didn't
Isn't that
think
crazy?
that the quarterback with 2 rushing touchdowns wouldn't be in the optimal.
Absolutely insane, dude. Crazy. Let's look at this winning lineup here. This was chopped like 340 ways. Swift captain with Smith, Devontae Smith in the flex. So those are the only 2 Eagles. This is a 2-4 with Cousins, Jefferson, Hawkinson, and Addison. To me, I mean, everything else makes sense. Just to me, having no Hurts in the flex, and I believe he scored 25 fantasy points or something to that effect. Just because of that price, he just didn't cut it, I guess. I don't know, man. That was just so strange to me to see the winning lineup not have Hurts in it after scoring 2 rushing touchdowns and throwing for a decent amount. So what jumps out to you here, man? Like, why wouldn't we have landed on this? Probably because we were I had 95% Hurts. That's probably why, right?
I mean, if you would have told me if you told me before the slate started that Jalen Hurts would have 2 rushing touchdowns and wouldn't be in the optimal, I would have said you're full of shit. So, I mean, look, we talked about it on the show a little bit. Like, if you're crazy enough to fade Justin Jefferson, the same logic applies to Jalen Hurts. Like, if we were willing to run a lineup or 2 without JJ, then we should have been willing to do 1 or 2 without Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
And this isn't even a tough lineup. Now, I'm not a big fan of duping, but I mean, granted, if you put in $25 or whatever, you got 2 or 3 lineups in the million, this is one of them, you're still bringing home 4K. So, not everything has to be a MME and, $1 million takedown. Like, sometimes it's cool just to profit a little bit. So, I don't know, man. This isn't that big of that complex of a lineup. You got the running back captain, and then wide receiver, and then the 4 stack with a quarterback. No, just a basic 2-4.
Yeah, the interesting thing is if you max this contest, you're not happy about this at all. I mean, you did profit, but the once in a while that you would ever win a contest like this, and you only win $1,500 or $2,000 or whatever that number is, that would be absolutely infuriating. But if you just threw in a couple, $200-$300 worth of lineups or something, then yeah, you're pretty happy about it. All right, let's move on from this slate. And let's talk about Sunday Night Football. Dolphins going into New England. New England, home dogs. It's a 46.5 point total. Thoughts here, man. This should be an interesting game. Division rivalry, obviously, these 2 teams know each other. You got Belichick, who is an incredible defensive mind. I think they played pretty damn good week 1, even though they lost. The Dolphins, we all know what they did. The biggest question here is, can this game slow down a little bit? Can this be a little bit more of a normal scoring game? I mean, it's a 46.5 point total. To me, that kind of shows hey, this might be a little bit more defense involved, especially from the Patriots side.
Yeah, man, I wouldn't count past Bill Belichick's in the past to be able to slow it down. But this is the time of the year that I don't want to be rude or anything to Miami and all the the Dolphins players watching this, but this is the time of the season where they're healthy, right? So this is where you're going to get those ridiculous games from Tua, Hill, and Waddle. What did Tua have, 450 yards on Sunday? It was kind of crazy, man. So I definitely think that this is something that you could probably consider later on in the season to be a lower scoring game. But yeah, I mean, there's 466 yards. If it wasn't for Tyreek Hill just having an absolutely insane day, he would have been an optimal captain in whatever game that he was playing. It just so happened that Tyreek actually had 48 fantasy points.
Yeah.
So I like Miami. I think the Pats might be getting a little bit more love just because of how they performed against Philly, but it's very easy to overperform in week 1 for a team that's not expected to do much.
Man, I feel crazy because I feel like the Patriots can win this game outright, and I feel like this can hit the under. I think it's going to be close. I think you could have a little bit of spurt of action in the fourth quarter or whatever, but I feel like the first half under could be an option if you're looking that way. The weather, I know there's a hurricane coming in. They should be fine in this area. Doesn't look like there's really any chance of rain on Sunday, maybe a small amount, but keep an eye on that. We're recording this on, what's tonight, Friday night, Ellie?
Friday, yeah.
Yeah, so keep an eye on that. Division records, you got the Jets and the Dolphins are both 1-0. You got Patriots and Bills 0-1. This is interesting here, man. Like, we know about the stats about your odds getting into the playoffs if you start 0-2. Patriots, man, this is I would never call this a must-win game, but man, if they could win this game, pull this off, that'd be huge for their season. What do you think about the Patriots' chances of winning this game?
I'm really just not high on them, man. Like, it really needs to see some consistency from not only their defense but their offense, right? I understand that they were able to do well in the second half against Philly, but I think we've seen that Philly isn't necessarily the same defense that they were last year. So look, I don't think Hunter Henry is going to come out and have the same kind of second half performance that he did. He still easily have a good game, but I just don't know that it's going to be quite the same performance as last week.
All right, let's look at some props here just to get an idea kind of where we're at, where Vegas thinks these guys are coming in. So as far as receiving yards, we've got who's leading. I'm assuming it's going to be Tyreek. Yeah, he's at 80.5. Who are some other guys? You got really pretty low across the board. Waddle at 63. So we got those two guys pretty high. And then on the other side, you got Kendrick Bourne, who had a week last week, 39.5. There's really not a whole lot going on over here. Ramondre Stevenson at 23.5 is interesting. Juju at 32. What jumps out to you with these receiving totals? And anything on this touchdown score here list that jumps out to you?
So for receiving totals, really those first two are the ones that I'm kind of interested in. Ingold, not it's kind of I guess if you want to put a little bit on to get a little bit of cash back. And then Durham Smythe, I don't mind those odds at -110. Yeah. He's been getting heavily involved in the offense, and heavily involved to the extent of he is the starting tight end. He's going to get run, and this offense throws the ball downfield. That's 2 catches on this. He could easily 2 catches, 45 yards. But first touchdown score is interesting. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little bit dramatic, but I just feel like the odds were better last year. It feels like these are kind of nerfed. Like 230 plus 230 odds for a Hunter Henry touchdown just kind of seems a little ridiculous to me.
Yeah. And then talk about Ahmed too. We got to talk about Ahmed because as of right now, sorry to interrupt you, but as of right now, A-Chain should play, but I don't think that the books and any sort of fantasy projections have really updated that. So Ahmed, if A-Chain's out, obviously is a pretty decent option, but plus 260 right now. I mean, that's going to drop once A-Chain is announced in, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and look at that. You got Braxton Berrios at plus 330. Like, some of these are just feels like the books are just pricing it this way, so I don't have too much risk.
Yeah. Pass yards, 265.5 for Tua, 243 for Mac Jones. Rush yards, we've got Ramondre Stevenson at 51.5 and Raheem Mostert at 44 and Zeke at 24. Look at Mac Jones, a little over 5.5 points there, 5.5 yards. All right, so Ellie, some of your favorite props here, and some of the sims to back it up. Now that this Durham Smythe went up from 19.5 to the 20.5 since I screenshotted this and since you sent it to me, but still he's coming in on the sims according to SaberSim at 32.8, and Tua at over 265. Tua's coming in at 277. So obviously this is based off of the 5,000 sims that you bust out and the average there. But it seems like a pretty good option here. And then you have this A-Chain anytime touchdown score at plus 700. You probably should jump on that ASAP before that keeps moving up as he gets closer to lock and closer to being announced in. Anything else to talk about here? You want to jump to injuries?
Just while you're pulling up injuries, right? Like, wait till be conservative with the A-Chain one. Plus 700 odds; those are just odds that I'm willing to take an anytime touchdown at. And that's probably baked in the fact that we're not sure his status. Even if he is active, he may not see snaps. So just keep that in mind. But plus 700 is fine.
And he's a rookie, so you just don't know what to expect from him. Although during the summer, we thought maybe he had a chance to be the starting guy with some of the injuries and some of the old guys that the Dolphins have. All right, let's go to our injuries here.
Yeah, just pain. It was pain everywhere.
All right, so the main ones to talk about. Let's start over here with the Patriots. So Trent Brown is questionable, one of their tackles. That's kind of a big deal. Let's see, what do we got here? Left tackle, Trent Brown, concussion, missed Friday practice for the third straight day, so he could be out. You've also got Jonathan Jones, their corner. Jonathan Jones did not participate on Friday after popping up on Thursday injury report. So it looks like he sort of popped up. He was added later, maybe downgraded. So he's dealing with a hamstring injury. So these corners are going to be really important, man. Jonathan Jones seems like he's their number one dude. He's had an okay season, at least by these numbers, based on these. So, and he's playing typically the wide corner. So that's probably a Jalen Waddle matchup / Tyreek Hill potentially. So he could be out of this game. And then you got Devontae Parker, who has practiced this week, should come back. He missed last week. He should be in, and that could kind of complicate the wide receiver room. What jumps out to you here with these injuries, man?
First looking at the Patriots, right? If they're missing some of their key defenders, right, the last thing you want is one of your fastest corners to be potentially limited during a game that you have against Tyreek Hill. I just the Dolphins have been doing a great job drawing up plays that open up Tyreek Hill in the middle of the field. So I just really like what I see. And if they don't have any of their defenders, I think it's just it really is grounds for a blowout. Devontae Parker is also going to be really important. We need to kind of understand how that's going to impact the wide receiver rotation. And then Kayshon Boutte, or however you say his name, he looks like he's healthy as well. And these are guys that I feel like the Patriots liked in the offseason. But Harry Douglas or Ricky Douglas, whatever the fuck his name is, he did fine on Sunday. He got a touchdown, so it's possible that they're going to continue to keep him in the offense. So I think we'll spend more time on that when we get to wide receiver. But that is a really important piece of what we need to do for Sunday night.
So when it comes to the Dolphins injuries, Raheem Mostert was taken off the injury report earlier in the week. It seemed to me like maybe there was a chance he didn't play, and maybe you got an A-Chain start. Or maybe an Ahmed start, depending on where they thought A-Chain was. But looks like Mostert is going to be back. And, he'll probably get a majority of the snaps this week, depending on kind of how bad that injury is. But you got also Teron Armstead. That's kind of a big deal. He was out last week. So he was practicing today since the first time since August 17th. That was on September 13th. So what else jumps out to you, man? There's not really anybody else to talk about. Jalen Waddle with that oblique injury, it was a full practice. He does not have a status. Xavier Howard, Devon A-Chain, guys like that, and obviously Mostert were pulled off that injury report. So what's interesting here to you?
I'm just glad they're healthy, right? Obviously, Teron Armstead matters, but I don't think it's as important as just having a clean bill of health from guys like Waddle and Mostert. And, Devon A-Chain, if he's healthy, I do think that he gives them a little bit of flexibility if they are weak on the defensive line, right? Having that ability to just rotate different backs in there, especially pass catching backs, take a lot of stress off of a struggling offensive line if they're having issues.
So before we get to the breakdown, I want to briefly kind of look at some numbers from last week and kind of some matchup stuff here. So obviously Tua threw for 466 and 3 touchdowns. Mac Jones for 3 touchdowns. He did throw an interception, but he threw for 316 yards. Pretty good. Kendrick Bourne had those 2 touchdowns on 11 targets. Tyreek Hill went off, obviously. Jalen Waddle on 5 targets still ended up getting 78 yards. Hunter Henry with 56 yards and a touchdown. Now, the pass defense for the Patriots limited Jalen Hurts to 170 yards. Not bad. What else here? If you look at this matchup here, the rush defense is what really jumps out to me for Miami. 40 attempts, 234 yards given up last week to the Chargers, 3 touchdowns. You got Ramondre Stevenson, in my opinion, set to have one hell of a week if that trend continues. Anything else to jump out to you here? Any stats or any matchups that you might be looking forward to?
No, just correct myself. I think I said DeMario Douglas had a touchdown. I must have mistaken on that. But yeah, look, man, Hunter Henry had a big week, and I think he's an interesting guy to kind of keep an eye on, especially against the Dolphins defense. So we don't really know what to expect from.
All right, let's get into our breakdown. We're going to go position by position and look at all the salaries. We'll do our captain and fades, and we'll build some lineups. Let's do it. Break it down. All right, so we'll start with quarterback. So Tua, 11.2K, Mac Jones, 9K. So Mac Jones is right on that Ben DiNucci line, is what we're calling it. 9K is pretty cheap for him, man. Like, this is a pretty decent matchup. I feel like he could come out and have a pretty good game. You got Vic Fangio coming in for this Dolphins defense after he kind of took a year off last year. I think he did help the Eagles in the Super Bowl there a little bit. But Vic Fangio, he's going to have a pretty good defense. It didn't work out week 1 for him. So what do you think about Mac Jones being priced at 9K? Tua at 11.2K, to me, you could fade Tua in this game. It's not one of these Jalen Hurts situations. I think he can obviously come out and have a great game. But at 11.2K, and you got so many guys you want to get involved, maybe a Tyreek Hill with no Tua in the flex situation, and then 4 Patriots. I don't know, man. Thoughts on Tua?
Yeah, I mean, Tua is one of my favorite plays in the slate, but that's not really a genius a statement there, right? 470 passing yards. He had a bunch of touchdowns. He's going to crush no matter what he does, and he's priced somewhat fine. I think the thing that you got to really not do is probably throw him at captain. I think it's going to be easy to, just because of what he's capable of doing. But like, in all reality, you probably just are better off spending a couple hundred more and going up to Tyreek Hill if you're going to spend that much on captain anyway.
Yeah. But if you do put him, put him at captain, and I feel like a Jalen Waddle in the flex situation could be the option, because if Tyreek Hill is not the optimal captain with that ceiling, then maybe this is a Jalen Waddle type game, and maybe the Patriots shut down Tyreek Hill. They took away their best receiver and made somebody else beat him. That's kind of a situation where you would if you did put him in the captain, you probably want to, maybe pair him with a cheaper pass catcher. Sorry, go ahead, dude. Yep. Thoughts on Mac?
No, you're right on. And then Mac Jones, he's interesting. Like, just from a salary perspective, like, it's going to be tough to play some of these top end guys, especially if you want to go 2 and both wide receivers. So initially, call me crazy, but initially I was thinking that he might end up being a guy that I was looking to fade. But I don't know. Like, at 9K, like, he is somebody that I do want to get exposure to. And I'll be honest with you, man. If that offensive front can handle the Philly defensive line enough for them to be able to come back in that game, like, it was looking pretty ugly.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So maybe we're underestimating a little bit of what he's able to do and kind of what that defense is, or what that offense has turned itself into with Bill O'Brien. So yeah, I do like Mac Jones. I mean, to your point, right? Like, you're probably going to have to fade somebody. So like, if you're doing a Hill captain lineup, it probably makes sense to fade Tua, and then maybe you want to go 5 Patriots, and you're gonna need Mac Jones if you do something like that. But Mac Jones at 9K, he also is an interesting captain option. Even if remember, Tom Brady had like 455 1-yard sneaks. Like, he pioneered that shit before Philly and Jalen Hurts added the butt scoot to it, right? So we could see Mac Jones get a couple goal line vultures as well. If you think that's possible, he will be the optimal quarterback, or optimal captain, if he has 2 rushing touchdowns.
Oh yeah, big time. And look, Mac Jones finally has a real offensive coordinator. He has a real system. It's not Matt Patricia, the defensive guy, pretending to be an offensive guy, it's just absolutely mind-numbing how that went down last year. And you saw how pissed off and frustrated Mac Jones was. Seems like, we're off to a pretty good start. Let's see if he can keep it up and be consistent this entire year. All right, let's go to running backs. Let's start with New England. So Ramondre Stevenson's 9,400. Ezekiel Elliott is 5,800. The interesting thing here, man, is Ramondre seems like he's in a good spot. He had, he didn't have a terrible game last week. He did catch 6 balls last week. He had a decent amount of opportunity in the pass game. He just didn't get there on the ground. Zeke Elliott, he got a couple targets. He did fumble the ball one time. It was raining, so hey, it is what it is. But Zeke Elliott at 5,800 is kind of interesting in this game too when it comes to goal line vultures. So, and especially against this Miami defense who proved they cannot stop the run. Ramondre, I love this dude. I think he's one of my favorite plays on the slate besides these pass catchers for Miami. And I don't mind Zeke Elliott at 5,800, but you will need probably 3 receptions and a 2 touchdown game because he's probably just not going to get there. He's not going to get you 100 yards rushing, most likely, kind of a situation. So thoughts on these guys?
Yeah, I love Ramondre. 6 targets, 6 receptions last week. One thing that I do want to keep in mind with these guys is that game was out of hand. Mac Jones threw the ball, 53, 54 times. He's not going to do that again. Well, I mean, look, I actually, if there was a game that he could end up throwing the ball 50 to 50 plus times again, it is against Miami. We saw it. We've seen it multiple times that these games will turn into absolute shootouts. So if you think that's possible, then I think that really boosts what you're going to expect from Ezekiel Elliott. Right now, I think if you're projecting that team for 35, 40 pass attempts, you probably want to bring Zeke down to 2 to 3 targets at best. And at his price, I'm just not really sure about that. But again, if you have game script, right, building lineups based on a game script, if my game script is 50 plus pass attempts, then Zeke is automatically added in that player pool because it does look like 11 targets going to the backs and 6 being to your one back, and Zeke getting 5, he was just signed. So it is kind of impressive that they do want to get him involved. So he is worth if you think that they're going to really have to throw to keep the offense in it.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up game scripts. I want to look at something real quick. So I could come in here in SaberSim and I could change the projected points. So if I wanted to do 30 lineups out of my 150 with a shootout game script, I could change these totals here. Let's change this to 35-31, and we'll switch back to the players, and we'll see all their projections have changed. They're pulling the sims that situation came up, and they're changing projections. So you see Patriots defense gets a lower projection. You get some of these other guys, but basically, if I wanted to change the game script and generate 30 lineups or so with a certain type of game script, you could always do something like that. Let me jump back, fix this, go back to that. All right. So let's go to the other side with the running backs. Did it? No, it pretty much kept it the same. Okay. All right. So let's go to the other side with running backs. Let's go to Miami. So I had to manually change projection here. Mostert is 8K, Devon A-Chain 4,600, Ahmed 1K, and then you got Ingold, the running back, tight end, tackle, whatever you want to call this dude, $400. Mostert didn't do great. He didn't do terrible last week. I feel like he could have done better, but he did get that touchdown. So thoughts on Mostert at 8K? Does this kind of feel like not the greatest matchup for him? And could he be like a fade category guy?
Yeah, I think so. Honestly, I think I think I'm naturally going to end up just having a low exposure to him just because I want to pay for Waddle. I want to pay for Tyreek Hill. But at the same time, I do think Raheem Mostert's an interesting captain play. There's just risk baked into Mostert in general, right? Because he is one of those guys who can end up getting hurt in the middle of the game. I'm pretty sure he went down for a second on Sunday.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. So that's stuff you got to keep in mind. And, I think I'd just rather play him a captain because he's either going to get you I don't know, man. He's going to get you an insane score or he's not going to do enough to really do anything for your lineups. He's just going to be a middling performance.
Yeah, and if we look at his rushing attempts, he had 10 carries, 37 yards, and a touchdown. He didn't really get targeted much. He had 2 receptions for 13 yards with a long of 8. So to me, he feels like a guy that you probably could fade if you were feeling it, especially if his ownership comes in a little higher since he's not on the injury list and there's some question marks. I'd rather get his backup at a way cheaper price, at almost half the price in A-Chain. But A-Chain is a rookie, and it is a little bit kind of scary. All right, let's go to wide receivers here. All right, so Tyreek Hill's 12.6K. That's pretty insane. Jalen Waddle, 10.2K. Equally, he's pretty high priced for a showdown slate at 10.2K for the number 2 wide receiver. You don't see that often. Braxton Berrios, 2K. River Craycraft at 800. He caught a touchdown. Berrios is clearly the number 3, even though that number 3 is not really like the biggest role on this team. So what do we do here, man? Like Tyreek Hill, to me, could be, in the Millie Maker. I'm not playing Tyreek Hill if I throw in like a couple, like 2-3 lineups, and it's probably, I'm probably just burning money. But getting different with one player and just maybe thinking that there's a chance that Bill Belichick can shut down Tyreek Hill. I don't know. Am I crazy, dude?
Yeah, a little bit, but I mean, at 12,600, I think you're fine. At least you only have to fade one person. You don't have to decide on Hurts or Justin Jefferson. You know what I mean? So you can just take your lumps with a couple lineups without Hill, and then be fine everywhere else. But here, play Tyreek Hill as much as you can. If you can't, probably make sure you have Jalen Waddle. We all know what Tyreek Hill is capable of. If he has a performance like he did on Sunday, you are absolutely annihilated if you do not have any exposure to him. It's just simple.
100%.
You cannot win.
Yeah. Oh, no, 100%. And I'm not doing that in my, if I'm doing 200 lineups or, I'm doing multiple 20 maxes, trust me, I'm probably not going to be fading him in any sense. But my point is, in 200,000 entries, you got to get different some way. And maybe just betting on one guy to have just like, he doesn't need to like get like one catch. He could probably still have 5 catches for 100 yards at 15 fantasy points. If this game is a shootout and he's 12.6K, we saw it the other day. There's plenty of good players who, like Jalen Hurts, didn't make it into that optimal lineup because he was just too expensive. So that's just something to bring up. Jalen Waddle at 10.2K to me is a very interesting captain choice. You could play Jalen Waddle at captain. You could put Tua in the flex. You probably could find a way to get Tyreek in there if you get really interesting from there. But this almost feels like a, Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle situation. I don't know how you get both of these guys in your lineups because, in theory, realistically, if you have both of these guys in your lineups, you're going to want to get Tua with him, and that's going to be almost impossible to build lineups.
Yeah, man. Look, again, I think you're fine if you play Jalen Waddle. I think you can try and get to both. And I think there is a way you can play all those guys and Ramondre Stevenson too. But I also, I really like River Craycraft. Like, he seems to be their number 3 wide receiver, right? And at what is he, $600? Like, you're not risking all that much. He's got what? He's at a 2.67 yards per out run, which I know we're only got 1 game sample size, but yards per out run seems to be a pretty good leading indicator of when someone's going to be able to put up fantasy production, right? So like then it's a little bit higher than Jalen Waddle, but again, like that's because of how many routes they've run. So like I like River Craycraft. He's going to get involved in the offense, $600 or $800. You're not really risking anything by playing him. And I think that he allows you to go to Waddle, Hill, and Tua. And I don't hate doing that because if Tua throws for 450 yards, that means he's spreading it out to somebody a little bit. So you know that these other guys are going to get involved to some extent.
Yeah, so if Jonathan Jones is out, that probably moves up Christian Gonzalez guarding. Last week he was on the wide. He was wide cornerback, 61 snaps. Jonathan Jones wide cornerback, 48 snaps. So depending on whether or not Tyreek is, he's going to be motioning around quite a bit. Obviously, it's Tyreek, but it's most likely maybe this is a Christian Gonzalez versus Jalen Waddle matchup, and Christian Gonzalez gave up 100 yards last week. Where is he? Yeah, 99 yards allowed on 12 targets. So, maybe it's a Jalen Waddle situation. Marcus Jones, I don't even know how they're going to play this. They're obviously not going to just play man on Tyreek. There's going to be some zone coverage to helping him out on the safeties. But if Jonathan Jones is out, that really hurts things. Braxton Berrios. Okay, so let's look at the other side here now. Kendrick Bourne, Juju, Demario Douglas. Let's look at their salaries. So Kendrick Bourne, 7,200. He had 2 touchdowns last week. I think what did he have? 12 targets. Let's look at this. Let's look at his. I think he had 12 targets, something like that. It's something ridiculous. He had a great game last week. He was clearly their number one. He hasn't looked this good in a long time. Juju did not look so good. He's 6,200. He was kind of out wide / in the slot. But Devontae Parker at 5K, if he's back, which I think it's leaning towards he might be back. Who does that hurt the most? We got Demario Douglas at 1,800. I feel like it hurts Juju the most. I don't know. What do you think? Like who does this hurt the most if Parker is back?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's got to be Juju. Juju's been playing a little bit wide since Parker's been out, but I just don't know that Juju's really their guy. I know they paid him some money, but at this point, like, there was actual an article put out that his knee could explode at some point.
Dude, I saw
Juju,
that.
Right?
Yeah, that was
like,
insane.
I mean, like, we're being dramatic for sure. Like that's
what the damn thing said. Who was that? That was the.
It wasn't a bullshit article either.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't Ballsack Sports. It wasn't NBC News either. But like it's still worth considering. Like and let's be realistic. I saw someone say about it today, but Mike Tomlin's been pretty good at developing in that Steelers front office. They've been pretty good at developing wide receivers. So when they let somebody go, they're usually right. Maybe we should just listen to them.
Yeah.
And it's happening with Claypool. It happened with Juju. He never panned out after he left there.
Yeah.
So I really think that the guy that they're going to start squeezing out is Juju. Devontae Parker is a good veteran guy to have in the locker room. And then you have Demario Douglas and Kayshon Boutte. Those are the 2 guys that I think the young guys that you're trying to get involved in the offense. So leading into my next point, those are probably 2 of my favorite value plays on the slate, Demario Douglas and Kayshon. I mean, 1,800 Demario, we know that. I still think they're going to continue to get involved, right? What is like the Bruce Belichick motto is just to get guys. If you're doing good, if you're doing what you're supposed to do on his team, he's going to feed you, right? So I can just see Demario Douglas getting a little bit more run after the way that he played on Sunday. And then again, Kayshon Boutte, $600. I just don't give a shit. I'll play him. He had a touchdown in preseason, right? That's enough reason.
Did you just say Bruce Belichick? Bruce
I
Belichick. Yeah. All right. So Devontae Parker, if he comes out, let's actually look at these wide receivers here. So Kendrick Bourne, 56 snaps out wide. Juju played half in the slot and half wide. Typically, he's going to probably want to be in the slot. So this pushes Juju to slot as a third wide receiver. Maybe he actually, I'm not going to play a lot of Juju, as you'll see in my fade. I'm not going to play a lot of him. But maybe him getting back to the slot totally, maybe that benefits him a little bit more than him having to go out wide. He's just not a fast dude. Demario Douglas, like you said, interesting guy. Let's move on here, man. Boutte at $600, that's pretty insane. But how much does it hurt if Devontae Parker comes back? Does Boutte see the field? Boutte looked okay. He had a couple targets. He did have that one near catch on the sideline that almost extended that game for them. Any interest in Ty Montgomery? He's more of a running back. He's more of the third down pass catching back, even though Ramondre kind of takes that role sometimes. Any interest in Ty Montgomery? I'm not gonna lie, I did get a little bit of him in best ball, like a psychopath.
And he's like damn near the equivalent of what GameStop. Like if you invested in it 16 years ago, you got to play a little bit just in case you're completely screwed. So yeah, I'm gonna have maybe a lineup or 2 with Ty Montgomery because I loved him in 1994. So I can't miss out on him if he has 2 touchdowns.
All right, let's go to tight ends. Let's start with the Patriots. Hunter Henry, 5,600. Mike Gesicki, 2,400. Hunter Henry, man, holy shit. This guy is going to get involved this year. Thoughts on him at 5,600? He's a decent captain option. I know he's a tight end, but he's not. He's lining up in the slot. Hunter Henry, 32 slot snaps, 29 on the line, and then you got Gesicki mostly just as a slot receiver. You could almost consider these guys as like your number 3 wide receivers, right?
Yeah, man. I like Hunter Henry. I have a lot of exposure to him in best ball, and the guy was free. But look, he's going to be probably a pretty decently popular play on Sunday just because of his performance on this past Sunday. But I don't like him, or I don't hate him. I think that he's a solid option. I do think that he's a good captain option, but again, like because of where he's priced, like the handful of lineups that are going to have him, like you're either going to leave $2,000 on the table and probably could have paid up for a better captain, or you're maxing out the salary nearly, right? Because that 5,600 range is weird. That's how you end up with a DeAndre Swift chopped 400 way lineup in first on the millie.
Yeah.
So Mike Gesicki, though, he is kind of interesting. I think like even I was kind of like, I'm glad we had a little bit of refresher before the show, because like it's such a quiet name. Like it's really easy to forget that he even is on the team, but he was getting a lot of camp hype, kind of fell out because of an injury, but if he's not hurt, like I do think that he's fine. And when we say revenge game, where the tight end that blown off, you were let go for Durham Smythe. So let's see if you can make it pay, right?
Yeah, Gesicki is going to be half the ownership. He's more than half the price. You could see Gesicki getting some decent opportunities, and he's kind of a red zone opportunity guy. I think if you wanted to get different, if you think Hunter Henry is going to come in over-owned, Gesicki could be the pivot there. Let's go to the other side. Speaking of Durham Smythe, he's $3,800, and this guy is the starting tight end. So, what do you think about that?
Okay,
dude?
I found this on the web for he's $3,800, and this.
Hello, Siri. Thanks, appreciate you. F off. What do you think about Durham Smythe?
I like him, man. 3,800. He's one of my like core value plays. Like I think that he's probably fine for cash. I don't know if we'll necessarily need to go there. We'll see when we build, but. I'll have a decent amount in GPP. I think I'd probably prefer him over a kicker. I mean, Tyler Croft and fucking Julian Hill, like these guys won't be on the field.
I know, dude. Durham Smythe is going to be on the field a lot. All right, let's go to kickers and defense. So kickers kind of screwed me along with a lot of things on Thursday night. Oops, I should go everybody. Dolphins 4,400. Jason Sanders, Miami kicker, he's 4,200. Chad Ryland, I've never heard that name in my life until right now, 4K. Patriots, 3,600. Look, any interest in this Patriots defense? I mean, this is Tua. Like, no offense, I like Tua, but can we see a very mistake-ridden game from a guy who's going up against Bill Belichick? And I know there's some injuries on the other side of the ball with the Patriots, but $3,600, can't you see that can't you see a pick six or a scoop and score or something in this game? And is it worth it at $3,600?
Absolutely. I mean, we saw the Jets win on a punt return touchdown in overtime. Like, come on, man. So you never know. Like, you just absolutely never know. Kickers and defense are much more are like the UFC, right? You can have just a crazy underdog and then some bullshit happens and get a KO and you're done. So Patriots end up with a pick six. They're probably going to be optimal at that price. And just real quick on the kickers here. Of course, the Patriots are the only team in the NFL with a dude named Chad on their team.
Any interest in Chad or any of these kickers in this game? I mean, I don't know, flip a coin, right? Like, I'm not going to eliminate them completely, but I'm probably going to be under the field.
Yeah, I mean, probably take Jason Sanders. I think I'd rather go Durham Smythe, but Sanders is fine, man. I expect Miami to be leading. They'll probably take the points when they have the opportunity to.
I at 4,200, I just feel like there's better options. Obviously, if Jason Sanders hits a 50-yard field goal on 3 or 4 extra points, and then another 30-yarder or something, you could be screwed. I know that I talked about that this could hit the under. If you think that's an option, maybe try to boost the kicker's projection or try to jam them in if you're hand building. But I don't know. To me, I just feel like sometimes eliminating kickers, especially with all of the talent on this slate, it just helps me narrow things down and gives me more opportunities to actually win. But if you get a 15-point kicker, you're screwed. I hate it. I hate making that decision. All right.
It's so hard to handle with a kicker too, because like the last thing you want to do is like, all right, fuck yeah, Jason Sanders, last piece of my lineup. Let's go, man. Let's watch Sunday Night Football.
It's so true, dude. So some of the best value, Boutte, depending on Devontae Parker, I still think he can they're not going to most likely jam Devontae Parker in there for every snap. You probably still get some opportunities. He's $600. He's very interesting. Ingold is on the field a lot. He's got literally like 6-point upside, him scoring a 1-yard touchdown. That's what you can expect. And I don't know if that gets you there. I know $400, that on any other slate maybe it does, but this game could get wild. River Craycraft $800, Demario Douglas $1,800, and Braxton Berrios at $2K. Thoughts on Berrios? Wouldn't you rather get like Gesicki maybe over Berrios? I don't know. What do you think?
Nah, man, I'd probably just still play Craycraft or Boutte. And look, you play both those guys, you're still saving $600 over Braxton Berrios, and I'm like 95% sure you can literally play all 4 of our other studs and be fine.
All right, let's go to our Crown Their Ass segment.
Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass.
Ellie, we're crowning their ass at the captain spot. Favorite tournament captain, Ellie Stevenson. I agree with you. I'm going Waddle. Talk to me on Stevenson, man. What needs to happen in this game for Stevenson to be the optimal captain, and what does the flex look like in a situation like that?
Yeah, man. So Stevenson, I think you're fine if you want to throw him a captain. He's got a high upside in the passing game. We saw 6 targets, 6 receptions on Sunday. The roster construction is going to be a little bit different. I mean, he is a little expensive. He's not quite as expensive as Hill or Tua, but you are going to be limited to some extent. Like I said, though, I'm not hesitant to play guys like Boutte or Craycraft. So I think there's going to be flexibility to play with these guys. Now, just like to be clear, we've got a lot of newer viewership, other people watching that haven't been watching. So thank you, first of all. But when we're talking about crowning our favorite captains, like we aren't going to go in. If I have 15 lineups, I'm not going to have 15 lineups with Stevenson a captain, right? He's probably just going to be my heavier exposed guy. Maybe I've got 20% of him a captain. And a lot of this is in comparison to the field, right? So maybe Tyson's favorite captain play is Jalen Waddle while the field's expected to come in close to 9%. Maybe that means Tyson's getting closer to 15 to 18% and just doubling what the field has at captain.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's exactly what it means. I'm not locking Waddle into 200 lineups. I'm going to be over the field on him. And the main reason why is I think maybe there's a chance that they try to shut down Tyreek Hill. It's not easy, but if anybody can do it, maybe it's Bill Belichick. And I think maybe Waddle gets a couple more opportunities in this game. Not saying I don't like Tyreek Hill, but at Waddle's price being so much cheaper, I still think he has relatively high upside. All right, let's get to our fade here.
We couldn't do diddly poo.
All right, Ellie. So talk to the folks about what this fade of the night means. It doesn't mean we're unchecking these guys, just probably considerably under the field. Now, sometimes I'll uncheck guys. I don't know that this is a situation that I'm unchecking Juju, but let's say he's 25% owned. Maybe I get 10% or something, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes it just does mean fade of the night, right? Like defense. This might be a game where I just don't have any exposure to defense. But for the most part, when we're fading specific players, again, we're talking about coming in under the field and building lineups that we're comfortable with, right? For example, if I were to fade Tyreek Hill at captain, or Tyreek Hill, if he would have been my fade of the night here, it would have been at the captain spot. And if I did run him with a lineup with him at captain, I'm going to do my best to not have the lineup that DeAndre Swift had the other night that's chopped up 400 ways, right? Like you can do that. We know how to build that way. And I'm sure you guys can watch plenty of shows that are going to give you the optimal projected lineup and you can run and chop a contest. But that's also not what we're trying to do here. Hopefully somebody's able to solo one of these contests one day based on some of these the advice that we're giving here. So that's what we're looking to do. We're not 100% fading defense, Juju, or Dallas Goedert, even for that matter, right? But we're just making sure that our balance is exposed, and we're finding guys that might be a little bit overowned that we don't need to be playing. Help optimize our chances of winning.
All right, let's do our lineup build here. We appreciate you guys. Throw us a like. Let's get this video to 50 likes. You guys crushed that last video we did for Thursday Night Football. My God, that was awesome. We got 100 likes on that. I'd love to do that again. Sunday night games are a little bit weird because obviously everybody's watching football all day. So if you guys are checking this out on Saturday, make sure you give us a like. It'll help us out. It'll help boost the algorithm and get this video to more people. All right. Oh, and by the way, we do need to mention our Monday night shows. This week specifically, we have 2 Monday night shows that we're doing, and we're doing those for members only. So click that join button down below. You'll get the exclusive Monday night video, and this week you'll get 2 videos. That's $3.99 a month. It helps us out. Hit join. That really does help us out. And obviously the Discord. We had a great night in the Discord the other night, chatting it up, talking strategy as the inactives came out and just across the board as well. So that's free Discord. Join that. You guys will appreciate that, especially with any injury news that's coming out. If you're watching the show, there's going to be some changes potentially between now, time we're recording it, and by the time the inactives come out in an hour and a half. And if you join the Discord, you'll know what's going on. All right, Ellie, enough talking. Let's get into this lineup build. Do you want to build like a cashy type, maybe like a $200 single entry, or even just a smaller single entry build?
Yeah, let's try it.
Who do you think we got to get a captain here?
Probably Tyreek.
Yeah, I think we do. So that's very expensive. So are we going Waddle? Are you fading Waddle here? Are you going Tua? I feel like we got to get Ramondre Stevenson in this lineup, and even potentially Mac Jones because of his price. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we're fading Waddle. I think let's just go Ramondre and Mac and see where we're at.
All right, so that leaves us with 4,200. Now, I don't know that we can get Tua. Like, in fact, I actually do know we can't get to it unless we're gonna punt twice, and I don't think that we have the value at this point to do it. Maybe that value opens up as we get closer. But is this a fade to a situation in this single entry?
Yeah, I guess.
I guess so. Yeah,
you're gonna need to choose which quarterback, and I think Mac Jones is the safest here. So what if we go? Well, damn. What if we go Mostert? And what does that put us at? It's 4,700.
Yeah, I think that's pretty smart to do that. Now, I think this is probably a situation where we're gonna have to find our value right off the bat. So, like as of right now, like Boutte, or you could go down to Gesicki. I mean, we do.
I like Craig Kraft, man.
All right, $800. Grab any of these cheap dudes. I guess you can kind of rotate any of these dudes out. You got Durham, Smythe, Patriots, Gesicki. It's kind of weird. I don't know, man.
Yeah, that is. So if you threw in Smythe, that's a fine GPP lineup, but not for what we're doing here. What if we pull out Mostert?
Yeah, we're gonna have to go down to A-Chain.
Yeah, let's go A-Chain.
I know there's some question marks here, but $4,600. He's got some high upside. They drafted him early. So it leaves us with 4K. So it's a little bit easier to find somebody. So do we want to go ahead?
What about Hunter Henry here?
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. We don't need to go against as many guys in a smaller contest like this. So we're looking to find some, decently owned dudes. $2,500 left. Gesicki, Barrios, Douglas. That would be if we put Douglas in. Like let's say Devontae Parker doesn't play. This is just weird. This is kind of hard to build. This is a 2-4. I don't know that I love this, to be honest. That's why building with Tyreek Hill is pretty difficult. I mean, because we even went with the cheaper quarterback and made it pretty difficult.
Pull out Henry and just put in one of the kickers. God.
Jason Sanders, does that fit this script or probably?
Yeah, probably. Because we don't have the quarterback. 3,900. And then we're back
Smythe,
to
Patriots, Gesicki. Yeah. I mean, this is a tournament build, potentially, but I don't know.
Maybe we build with Thursday night in mind. Let's fade, I guess maybe not even fade, but let's throw in Jalen Waddle as our cash captain.
Let's try it.
We can just build lineups with Jalen Waddle. Yeah.
Let's try it. See,
Hey, that's why I ended up with Devontae Smith at captain in a bunch of my single entries the other night. It was just because
he's cheaper.
It was just easier to build that way.
Yeah, you're right. Over AJ Brown. All right, so because we're doing this, do we want to get Tua? Do we want I still think Ramondre Stevenson is a must play.
Let's stick with Ramondre and Mac Jones. Let's start there and then see what we can do. I mean, like I'm almost cool going back with like even Raheem Mostert here and just seeing how we can shape up the lineup again.
Yeah, I think we can.
This is a lot better.
A lot better. We can get a kicker. We could definitely get Hunter Henry if we wanted. 2,700. So that does if there's any value you like down here, Douglas potentially or Boutte. We're gonna have to punt at one position, but maybe we don't go Hunter Henry. I don't know. Do you want to go kicker? See if that does anything for us.
Yeah, throw in Jason Sanders or something. I mean, we're back into that Durham Smythe range, but
yeah, 2 kickers. I mean, I don't know if I'd do that, but you're getting an okay floor as opposed to finding a dude like Durham Smythe or Gesicki who could catch nothing. This is interesting. I'd probably start with something like this. But we're seeing how much Waddle makes a difference. Let's go to some tournament lineups, dude. So, who do you want to build with first? Stevenson?
Yeah, let's build with Ramondre.
So he's even a bit cheaper than Waddle. So what do we need to do with Stevenson at the captain spot? Do we need Mac Jones? I know there's some pass upside opportunity, but maybe we fade Mac Jones in this situation and we do like a 2-4.
So hear me out. I want to start with this. Let's go Ramondre. I'm going to do all 3 of the big 3 in Miami. Go to Waddle and Hill, and let's just see where we're at.
We're screwed, but let's see.
I see, but I'll run this. Go ahead and throw in Boutte and throw in Craycraft or whatever the hell. Like this isn't terrible to me, man.
If we get another crazy Tua game and you got Stevenson catching 7-8 balls out of the backfield as they're down in the fourth quarter, that's the game script here. So we got Stevenson at captain, Hill, Tua, Jalen Waddle, Boutte, and Craycraft. Kind of interesting. Let's be a little bit safer here. Let's pick between. Let's kill Waddle. So we got Stevenson, Hill, Tua. Where do we go from here? Let's do maybe. You want to do 3-3? I don't know. What do you think?
Throw in Mac.
Let's go Mac.
I think it's going to end up at 3-3, but I guess we're back in that weird range.
Scrubs.
I mean, unless you want to go like Barrios, Craycraft, and do a 4-2.
Oh man, these random ass wide receivers. Gesicki, you can go Gesicki here. Get Boutte. That's a 4-2. Kind of interesting. If you're going to choose 2 guys from Miami, those are the 2 guys to choose. And then you got a game script where Hill goes off, but Stevenson gets a bunch of garbage time points as they catch up in the fourth quarter. I don't really know. Interesting. Stevenson's interesting. It's going to be much harder to build with Waddle for a tournament build. I know we did one earlier. Let's do it again. So let's just try this. Let's see how impossible this is. Waddle at captain, Hill, Tua, 3,300. Let's go get our value now, right? Choose any of these guys that you like. Let's go Boutte for now. And that leaves us with a reasonable. We could do something here. We could go middle road. We can go kicker for New England if we wanted to.
I mean, like, if you want to be crazy, you could also just go Mac Jones and then another punt. Yeah.
So you could go kicker and Juju if you wanted to do that. Mm-hmm. You got 2 pass catchers without the quarterback, but I don't think that's a huge problem, especially Juju's more of a, 6-7 reception, 50-yard kind of guy. Let's go Mac. 1,300. So we got Boutte, and, if for some reason Ahmed you think is going to get the carries, but Craycraft... Damn, I'm going to end up with a shitload of Craycraft, bro. That's pretty much it. Like, below that, that's pretty much it. Craycraft is probably the bottom. This is kind of interesting, man. This is going to be tough. Let's kill Hill in this one. Or, hey, what about this? Do you want to just go... You want to go no Tua in this one? You go Waddle and maybe we go Waddle... What about Mostert? Waddle and Mostert.
I'm down.
Let's try it. Waddle and Mostert. Because look, let's talk about this. Waddle at captain, Hill in the flex. In what world does Tua not make this lineup? I know we saw that on Thursday night, but that's probably not a good way to build, in my opinion. But it's possible. All right, who's next? You want to go Ramondre and Mac?
Why don't we actually fade Ramondre here? We haven't gotten any of the wide receivers. Let's go Mac, maybe
Bourne,
Hunter, and like Kendrick Bourne. Yeah,
let's go Hunter Henry. Yeah, I like this. 4,900. We got so many options. A-Chain. Pull him
literally
out.
Do whatever you want here. Yeah,
do whatever you
rotate
want.
every tight end, defense, captain.
Smythe. You can do a lot there, man. Do you want to do like a punt weird one real quick? Like, because we've tried all these expensive guys. What about some random dude? What about Kendrick Bourne, dude?
Yeah, put in Kendrick Bourne. Let's do it with him.
All right, let's see what happens. So, Tua and Hill or Tua and Waddle or all of them?
Let's see if you can do all of them. But let's see if we can get Mac.
No,
we can't.
No. So pull Waddle or pull Hill?
Pull Waddle.
All right. And let's get Mac Jones. Can't do Stevenson, so we're gonna end up doing some Hunter Henry and Craig Kraft. Or you could do Boutte potentially. So Mac Jones. So you got Kendrick Bourne at captain with Tua and Tyreek, with Mac Jones, Hunter Henry, and Boutte. That's interesting. You could rotate out that last one. Is there anything else we can do here?
Let's do one with Hunter Henry.
All right, Hunter Henry, where are you? He's what, 5,400 or something? 5,600. Oh, a captain. Sorry. I was like, didn't we just do one?
Yeah, a captain.
All right, let's do one with Hunter Henry and we'll call it a day. Let's see. Where are you, Hunter? All right.
Let's fade Mac. Let's go Ramondre, and let's see if we can do the 3 from Miami.
Ramondre, the Holy Trinity. Let's do it. Boom.
No.
Sure can't.
Can't do it.
Yeah, sure can't. So that's gonna be the thing.
All right.
Now you could probably play Hill. You could probably play Hill and Waddle together in the flex.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. Am I stupid? Am I stupid for saying that? Like,
no,
does it
I think
matter?
it's fine. I mean, the problem is they're both so explosive. They could each have 3 receptions for I don't know, 200 yards and 2 touchdowns, but that means Tua has 400 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I mean, do it sparingly, right? Like, I don't know. This isn't. It's tough. Throw in Mac Jones. We'll fade Tua. Throw in Durham Smythe. And then what does that give us? Ezekiel Elliott? Like,
yeah, you could. Most likely Juju.
Yeah, I don't like this at all.
Yeah.
I don't know if Hunter Henry is cheap enough to give you what you need.
No.
He's not expensive enough to actually like work.
Who's a high upside dude? Like, what about like A-Chain? Like, who's just some random dude who's gonna be 2% owned that could pop off as like the number 2
Yeah,
guy.
that's fine.
Just try it, dude. I got so much of him in best ball. I might as well just pretend that he's gonna have a good year. All right, so A-Chain, if he goes off, is this a pass catching opportunities for him? Because we had heard that in the over the summer that he's gonna be getting some slot wide receiver or motion type things with Mostert on the field potentially. So what's the game script if A-Chain is the optimal captain?
Yeah, I actually do like Tua in that lineup with him.
All right.
And then maybe we fade Hill. Let's go Waddle, and then see can we do Ramondre and Mac? I think we will have enough to punt there at that point, but we'll still have enough. Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. Interesting. Gesicki. It's a 3-3 that nobody will have. A-Chain at captain, Tua, Waddle. You got Mac Jones and Stevenson. All right, dude.
All right, real quick. I think this is easy enough. Take out Gesicki, go to Craig Kraft, and see if you can go to Hill from Waddle. You should be able to.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. So A-Chain to Hill with Mac Jones, Stevenson, and Craig Kraft. That's a 4-2. All right, man. So what do you think about all this, man? Like, it seems pretty difficult to build. There's like so many different options. Where are you leaning right now, man? Like, where are you leaning after we've built some lineups with your captain? Are you still happy with your Ramondre captain? It's still hard to build with him, but I think he's one of the more reasonable guys to build with at captain.
Yeah, man, I like Ramondre. I'm usually not too big on running backs just because of the pass volume. But if he gets involved in that, we know that he's going to be able to do it. And he's just an explosive runner. So I like him. Just overall from the slate, though, just be open-minded. It's really tough because we know that 95% of the pass volume is going to go to 2 wide receivers on the Miami side. And for all we know, like the Pats could just be shit on offense. They're inconsistent there. So don't get married to any one idea, like we always say, and just make sure your lineups have a specific game script in mind.
Yeah, I'm going to be building with my game scripts in mind. Every single lineup, I'll hand build a couple. I'll do some in the Sims, try to figure out those game scripts. But this is not going to be an easy game. I think it can go so many different ways. I could totally see this hitting the under. This could be Belichick stopping, a sloppy offense after a great week. This could be an absolute blowout by the Dolphins. Where do you think this is going to go? What's your final score prediction?
35-27 Miami.
Yeah, I could see that. I'm going to go 27-20 New England. Probably stupid, but I think New England's got a chance to win this. We'll check back in on the Monday games. All right, guys, throw us a like on the way out. We appreciate it. Anything you got anything to say on the way out?
No, I'm good, guys. Hop in the Discord and we'll chop it up when the inactives come out.
See you guys later.